Alright, so now we're sharing my screen. The first thing that you'll want to do, or at least one of the first things you want to do, is create a Storify account. Here is my homepage for my Storify account. I chose to sign in with Facebook. I've noticed that sometimes Storify won't let me sign in. When that happens, even you won't see this, but you will see this browse option. If I click browse, it usually signs me in and starts working. So that's just a hint in case that happens to you. Also, I wanted to point out that I am using Google Chrome with Storify here, and have found that using either Chrome or Internet Explorer works best with Storify. So by this point, I already have my topic, my research questions. I've already started to do some research, and I have placed some of that here in this Word document. So I pulled that up. For the purposes of this example, my research question is how to set up an engaging Storify project. I found 2 internet sources here, and I haven't written out the actual annotations of these specific sources, but I've written here what you need to have in your annotations. So each one needs to have a description of the information provided in the source. Should be about 3 to 6 sentences, an explanation of the site's credibility, so explain in specific terms why you find the site to be credible, 2 to 3 sentences, and then explain how this source helped you to answer your research questions and how it fits with the other sources that you're using. That should be hopefully 2 to 4 sentences, and you're going to do that for each of your different sources. I only have 2 here. Of course, you'll have more than that. I want to show you a couple of other things as we get going here, but at least I have the bare bones to get started back over here in Storify. So I'm going to click New Story, and once this opens, you'll see the Storify editor. If you've typed everything into a Word document, you'll be able to just pull things into your Storify. You do need to enter, let me actually zoom in on this a little bit. There we go. You do need to enter a headline. So let me do that really quick. Hold on, let's try this. And then here you can enter a description. I'll just enter my research question there in the description area. So how to set up an engaging Storify project. I'll copy that, click back over here. You can either right click and do paste, or you can hit Control-V, and there you'll have your text in there. In order to put in the websites that you need, you'll go over to this right-hand side of the screen. If you want to look for another Storify project, use this. If you want to bring in Twitter, Facebook, something from Google+, YouTube, this one is Flickr, Instagram, this one's Google, so you can just search Google from here. You can bring in a GIF, or you can bring in a URL if you already have one. I already have one, so I'm going to pop back over here to my document and just copy the URL. So I do Control-C, come over here, Control-V, and then hit Enter. Now I'm going to get that result here in my Storify, hopefully. Waiting and waiting. Oh, come on. Let's see. I'll try it one more time. Hear me mutter to myself. Don't get frustrated. This will work. There we go. Alright, so this is ABC Open. This was the short article I found on using Storify. So what I did is I grabbed that from the right side and just dragged it over here to the left side. Now it's in my Storify project. To insert my annotation that I've already written, I go back over here to my document. I highlight and then Control-C to copy it. Then I come back over here and click just below where I entered the source, and I'll get this text box. And now I can either do the right click and paste or Control-V, and there is my my annotation. And just to show you how this keeps going, I'm going to delete this one and pull in my other web source that's in my file here. Control-C, Control-V, lots of copying and pasting. to get everything over here into Storify. So now what I want to do, you can organize your Storify however you want. You can put the annotation above each source if you'd like to. I decided to put mine below the source. Based on the annotation, I'll be able to tell what annotation goes with what source if you've written it well. And so I can then just also pull in this annotation, which of course for the purposes of this demonstration is the same thing, and put it here. Now that I've done that, I can scroll up and down, see what's here, and when I'm all the way done with my project, I'm going to want to go back up to the top in between my research question description and my first source. I'm going to click up here. So yep, there I can. Click up here and get a text box, and then here you want to type an introduction to your topic. So what this means is probably 3 to 4 sentences that introduce what your topic is, maybe even a little bit of why you're interested in it, and then you need to have a thesis statement. For the purposes of this project, your thesis statement will be your overall answer to your research question. So whatever conclusion you've drawn, however you've answered that question based on all of your research, on reading all of your different sources, that is what you're going to put there at the bottom, or at the end, I should say, of your intro paragraph. Also, once you're completely done, and you have to watch out sometimes, as you can see here, Storify pulls in weird characters. When you're completely done, you can come down here to the bottom and write, whoops, I have to have caps lock on, write a conclusion. This will just wrap up all of your findings, leave your readers with a sense of, once again, why this was an important topic, what you've learned about it based on your research, and what we should take away. So as you can see, this isn't a formal research paper. It does have some of the elements of that research, but what you're really doing is evaluating the sources. We're principally using internet sources because so much of our research today is done on the internet anymore, that we need to know how to think critically about internet sources, how to evaluate them, and then how to learn pertinent information from them. We've been working on this over the course of the semester in various ways with different activities and assignments that we've done. So you should be ready for this. One other thing I wanted to point out, a couple of you have asked about, is you can bring in books. If you go to books.google.com, you'll find that Google Books has versions of virtually every book that there is. So I wanted to find something on Storify. So because I'm looking through books, I'm going to be much more broad with my search term here. And I see that there's this editing for the digital age on page 153. It talks about Storify. So I'm going to click there and see what's here in this book. So this gives me a preview. I'm going to clear the search just so that it doesn't have all the Storifys highlighted. But this gives me a little description in this book of, or it shows me the pages, I should say, in this book of where Storify is discussed. If I want to bring this into my project, I can click on this link thing here, or I can go up here to the search bar and find the URL. I'm going to get it from the link, Control-C, go back over to my Storify. I'm still using this URL embedder because I grabbed the URL on my own, hit enter, and there's the book. So you can just drag it in the same way. I put it between my last annotation and my conclusion. Something else that I should point out, since I'm noticing it right now, is that when you copy and paste text into Storify, for some reason it loses the spaces sometimes. So if that happens, please correct that before you publish it. So you can see here, there should be a description between, or excuse me, a space between description and of, so I can just put one in there. There should be a space here, I can put one in there. There's another one. So make sure that you go through and catch all of those before you submit your Storify. All right, last thing I want to show you. Going here to the CNM libraries page, just on the library's main page, You can do cnm.edu/ you can just do /libraries, and if you hit enter, it'll put the right department's connection in there. It'll bring you to this Suncat One search. I'm just going to put in Storify as my keyword, go over here and click search and see what comes up. For some reason that's not working. Let's see. Let me just go here to cnm.edu/libraries and do the same thing I was just trying to show you. I think the problem was I launched my screencast from that other tab. So I can type Storify in here and then click search. Of course, you have to be creative about search terms sometimes in order to find the information that you're looking for. And here I get a bunch of different hits. So over here you can see this top one's a periodical. The third one down is an academic journal. I might want to try the academic journal because I'm interested in learning more about what academics think about the use of Storify. So I'm going to click on PDF full text. You can come over here and limit the search to only full text sources, which is a good idea. Just for the sake of time, I'm not going to take that step. And then this will pull up the PDF, and once you do this, you can, of course, read the source, evaluate it, and so on, but you can also just use the URL up at the top in the search bar. I've highlighted it, Control-C, come over here to my URL bar, Control-V, hit enter, and this is going to give me this Suncat One search resource that I can also drag over here. Now if I see it's Suncat One search, I'll know that only we who are enrolled in CNM or teaching at CNM will be able to access it, but for the purpose of this assignment, that's totally okay. And I recommend trying to bring in a couple of books or scholarly resources as well to round out your research. As I mentioned in the guidelines, you should also give Facebook and Twitter a try. So you can just search for those right here in Storify itself. We can see there are a bunch of different hits here. A lot of these are just going to be other people's Storifys that they shared on Facebook, but something I might be able to get from this, depending on, again, what my research question is. I'm looking for how to set up an engaging Storify project. I can go through here and find the ones that seem to be most engaging. I can explain why, pull it over, explain why that is the case in my annotation. For your purposes, since you're doing a historical topic, you'll probably want to approach social media sources from the angle that this is what other people are saying about my topic, about Billy the Kid, or about the dirty wars in Argentina, depending on which class of mine you're taking. This is what other people are saying, and this is how factually relevant the conversations are. So you can go through and still evaluate that kind of information as well, because so often, once again, we get information from all of these other kinds of sources today. So hopefully this gives you a sense of how to build your Storify. Once you're ready, once you have it all done, you click Publish, this blue button here in the middle, and it will pop this up. You want to view and publicize it. So you click on that green bar that came up, and it will open a new tab or a new window. And here, once you have published your Storify, you can come up here and highlight the URL, copy it, and then you'll want to go over to Twitter. I use TweetDeck. I've told you that before in other tutorial videos. If you use Twitter, just go to Twitter, and then you just want to create a tweet, which you've got to give it a second to come up. You want to share your work on Twitter with the class. You're also going to submit the URL that I just copied. So going back over here, this URL for your project, you're going to submit that on Twitter. So this, if you're using TweetDeck, you click this little thing to make a new tweet. You just copy it over here. You might want to say something like, here's my final project. And then you want to put in the course hashtag. I'm doing the course hashtag for my U.S. history courses. Of course, if you're in New Mexico history, it's going to be this one, or in Latin American history, it's this one. And then you click tweet. I'm not going to do that because y'all don't need to see this on Twitter right now since it's not really finished. So you'll submit there, and then everyone will see your project. I'll be able to see it and go grade it. You'll also submit that link on Blackboard. So hopefully this helps. If you have questions regarding how to complete your Storify, please don't hesitate to ask, and please ask often, or early and often I should say, so that you don't put it off till the last minute and find that you have a lot of questions still remaining.